joining us right now for the final regular season Managers Report of the year. The Managers Report, refreshed by Eco Water SoCal. Try alkaline water for just $9.95 a month. Eco Water SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925, is Padres manager Mike Shildt. And Mike, I first of all want to say thank you sincerely for all the time that you spent with us and our Tier 1 listeners every other week, all season long. Obviously, it kind of goes up and down, but you're a good dude for doing it, and I know our listeners appreciate it quite a bit.
It's my privilege to do it. Listen, year's gone quick. Enjoy our time together. It's good to talk Padre baseball and be able to connect with you and our fan base. And also, I need to thank Eco Water SoCal for their sponsorship and their support of the show as well.
Very nice. Okay, so this is probably the last time we'll talk to you before, hopefully, the playoffs coming up in a couple of weeks. And I know you got some regular season to focus on first, but I am curious. Baseball is such an interesting sport, and you guys play for so long all summer, and it's all about the long term. And then you get to the playoffs, and it's about you got to win, like it's football all of a sudden, and every game is absolutely critical. When you go into the playoffs, and you guys went in last year, do you do anything different, or are you trying to keep things as much the same as possible as you kind of approach the postseason? How do you approach it as a manager?
Yeah, I believe that in order to get to the postseason, you have to normalize excellence in what you do in preparation. And if you get to a certain point in the season, or you get to a playoffs, and you feel like you've got to do something more, you probably hadn't done what you were supposed to do in order to have gotten there. And the body of work for the everyday being important and the most important game of the year that particular day mindset, really does lend you to not only getting there, but when you do get there, normalizing. Now, that being said, clearly, the games are a little different in a sense of, it's, you got to go. You got to figure out a way to shake hands and move on and win series. And that's one of the reasons I consistently talk about the importance of winning series and getting better as the series goes, and recognizing what's taking place and giving yourself the best chance to win a series, because that's what it's going to take to advance to get to the playoffs, advance in the playoffs, and win a World Series. So, but the way you operate during some of the playoff games and this time of year can be a little different in the sense of how you navigate, because there's real urgency to each game.
Yeah, there is. And I do, as a fan, Shilty, I'm watching the game yesterday and I'm like, okay, I don't know. I feel like we're in, 99.8% chance to make the playoffs this year. That feels pretty good. I'm pretty excited about that. For you, having to manage these last 9 games, keeping guys healthy, keeping them refreshed, but yet also keeping them dialed in, locked in on, getting their work in, hitting good pitches, making good decisions on the base paths, things like that. How difficult is that to navigate the last 9 or 10 games of the year?
Not difficult. I mean, like I said, we've gone back to spring training throughout the course of the season. Again, normalized how we compete. The guys that come in since the trade deadline, it fit right into how we think about playing and their dedication and preparation and competition. And so it's really just go out and continue to play. And always, I just love the way Toddy summarized it. I use it a lot, but just do what the game calls for, and the game it's the best shot we can take every day.
There's a narrative that the Padres haven't played as well against the better teams. Now, I just went through the stats, and every National League playoff team right now, except the Dodgers, you guys have a 500 or better record against. So I don't know that that's entirely true, but do you see any difference between when you guys are going up against, the playoff type teams versus the ones that are not playoff type teams?
Well, I mean, listen, there's teams that are going to be in the playoffs are clearly teams that have better records and have had success. So, that number's pretty interesting to me. It feels right to me that outside all the teams that are in the playoffs that we have competed against in the league, National League, we have overall winning records. So it feels pretty good. We take that, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think so. Obviously it doesn't mean anything once you get to a best of 3 or a best of 5 series. It'll all come down to kind of how your players are playing in that moment and how the other team's players are playing in that moment. And I guess that's what we're all looking forward to here in the next couple of weeks.
Yes, sir. No question about that.
And I was thinking about the beginning of the season, and I've had a lot of fans, in the chat and stuff this morning, and like, are we expected to believe that this team is just going to flip a switch? And I thought about it, and Ben had a couple of stats about it this morning. Had some really good flip switch moments this year where you've gone on a little bit of a run. And I thought, well, if you end the season in the postseason like you started the season, you're going to be the World Series champion. Like that's it. There is the ability to do it. And it is a different roster, and there is wear and tear. But when you guys look at bookending your season, do you think this team has that ability, Shildt, to just turn it on? Come October here in 10 days or so.
Yeah, I do. I completely think that's the case. Yeah, I mean, when you say turn on, I understand. We started out with like a house of fire, and that was a high bar that we set, and clearly we want to continue to maintain and work towards that bar. But yeah, I absolutely feel like we can, proverbial catch fire and just take this thing down. So I do believe that. But you've done something well over the course of a season to be where we're at now. So I feel like the consistency, while clearly everybody would like it, including myself, even to be a little better. We're always looking for better, but the body works pretty good. And, let's just go play winning baseball and consistent baseball. And, we do want to be clearly at our best, and I expect that to happen, from here on out.
Mike, I know fans a little worried, about Mike King after that last performance. He's trying to get back. How do you feel like, where he is in terms of, will there be enough time to get him locked in and ready for the playoffs? How did he kind of recover from that rough outing against the Mets this week?
Has recovered well. I mean, the last couple of days of, it sounds like he's done well, and talking to Michael, it looks good. Listen, it's Michael King, and we have a lot of confidence in him. That they put a lot of good at-bats together. That club swings about well, especially against righties. And, Michael's stuff was good. The metrics bore out the shapes, but, the fact of the matter is, it's still about, and always will be about execution. And, just too many mistakes that they made him pay for, and, balls flying out of that ballpark. But as far as concern level, not exceptionally high. I trust the body of work on Michael and trust him to be able to go perform. But we'll continue to gather information here in, a couple more days when he takes the mound on Sunday.
Well, big start for Dylan Cease tonight. Shildt going back to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And for you, watching an uneven year, still 200 Ks. I mean, nasty stuff, some of the nastiest in baseball. Is Dylan Cease pitching for a playoff rotation right now? Is he out to prove himself the last couple of starts to get, maybe one of those first 3?
Yeah, I think that, everybody's in competition, but we do know what we have, and, the stuff plays that Dylan has. And, he's been pitching really better more recently, consistently, and excited to have him pitch tonight, and optimistic about him moving forward.
Like this number 3 you've added to the lineup recently. Jackson Merrill has really turned it on lately. I don't know. I know we talked all year long about, what's kind of Jackson been doing, and you mentioned that the injuries and stuff. So now that he has turned it on, what are you seeing differently from Jackson Merrill?
Getting back to good pitches, swinging to good pitches. Jackson's an aggressive hitter, but he's really, really in the zone, but he's driving the baseball the other way. He's in his legs, and he's just trusting this beautiful swing and just staying on the baseball. And when he does that, like most hitters, he's in a great spot. And it's good to see Jackson, being able to do what he's capable of at this time of year.
Did he ask you to grow a goatee?
No, he didn't. He didn't ask. I should probably try.
How would that go, by the way?
What's that?
How would that go, by the way?
Have you ever had facial hair?
Yeah, the beginning of the season last year, they did a mustache for Mr. Seidel.
Yep.
And that wasn't great. I was, honored to honor him.
Of course.
I don't know how. I mean, he would have laughed in a good natured way, but I don't really have the ability to grow the connector, so it's
Same.
It would not be a good look. I can make an effort at it, but I don't think anybody really wants to see it.
I know. I tried it earlier in the year, but it made about 3 days.
The connector, I've never had any facial hair in my life.
Just the connector that connects the stash.
No, the goatee from the mustache to the bottom.
Down.
See, I can't grow a mustache even at all.
I can't really do the connector either. Shildt, we've got that in common. Certainly, one thing we haven't really talked about this week very much is, I think we're all forgetting there's a potential to get Xander Bogaerts back for the playoffs. So. What's his update on him? And then, he's such a pro. He's been in World Series. He won World Series. He's been in the playoffs. He's such a good guy to have around. But him being in the lineup and being able to contribute at shortstop too, how's that looking?
Gaining optimism every day with Bogey. He's been in Arizona since he left on Sunday. When we went to New York, he went to Arizona. That was a travel day for him. And, every day this week he's gotten, some real heavy workload, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, a little lighter day yesterday. But, the summary of it is he's doing almost every baseball activity we'd want him to do. And, getting a lot of at bats from the, the guys over in Arizona that are there participating in what they call bridge camp, and now instructional league starting, I think. But, he's getting a lot of at bats, getting his ground balls. He's getting on the bases. So he's getting closer, and he's recovering well. The thing that was really, fired us up and we were excited about was, he had a more of an aggressive day, and then the next day felt good. Had another aggressive day, so back-to-back aggressive, a lot of more intensity rather. And then the following day felt even better. So the recovery component has been favorable for Xander, and that's clearly good news. And, we'll see and make sure he's still progressing. And, to your point, he's a guy that we do rely on. He's been a guy that's been out for a while, and, we've been able to do some things and get a little bit creative with Crony going over to short, Louis going to second, and that's been good, and creates a little more opportunity for another left-handed bat in there. But you are talking about a guy in Bogey that has been a mainstay in our lineup the last couple of years that's contributed to winning and has 2 world championships under his belt, and those kind of experiences and that kind of player is going to be good to get back.
Crony has been so unsung. I think he really has. His play at shortstop, Shildt, has been, I don't know what the numbers say, all that, but like I've watched the games. He's been an unsung hero for this team.
Yep.
I think this season. So wanted to give him his kudos and credit. Always willing to go wherever you need him to go, hit wherever you need him to hit. Those guys are probably
get hit whenever you need him to
get hit when he needs to wear one. Those guys are so valuable and probably a bit of a manager's dream at times to just be able to plug and play him.
Oh, no question about it. And I'm glad, I don't do it enough. And I catch myself because we have such a talented team that, on any given night, people are contributing and get their just accolades. And then there's Crony that just, shows up, and whether it's making a nice play or having a quality at bat, or as you mentioned, occasionally, wearing one, or, going over and sliding over and playing short, or, hey, listen, it works out. You need to go play first tonight. Yep, I got that. You need some ground balls? No, I got it. He's just a winning player. He's a get it done guy, and he just goes about his business. And you're right. Those guys, they're dreams for managers, but more importantly, they're guys like that are consistent for winning teams.
Big time.
Mike, I also wanted to ask you about Ryan O'Hearn. And I don't know if you saw the quotes, but he told Ace Man yesterday, he said, I know I'm playing like poop. I can't say the word on the radio. He's been in a slump. I mean, we talk about players in slumps before, like when Manny. We know Manny. We know he's coming out of it. We don't really know Ryan as well because he's such a new addition. Man, I know he was an all-star with Baltimore. How's he kind of dealing with it, and what are you seeing from Ryan? And is there anything that you guys can do to kind of get him going and contributing the way he obviously wants to be contributing?
Yeah, he cares a lot. I mean, he fits right in that regard. Super high care factor, is really competitive. Wants to do well for the team, and there for a while, he's hadn't gotten as many results clearly more recently, but he went through a stretch of about 3 games where he's barreling balls and just wasn't finding any grass or able to find any holes, and so what can we do for him? We know he's going to come out of it. He's an experienced guy. He's had put together a great year. Keep playing. Let him go. Let him get out there, and we're seeing a bunch of righty starters in next over this series and next series, and we'll get him in there, and he'll get out of there. Victor and the group they'll do their part to help him, and of course I'm going to pat him on the back and continue to encourage him, and before you know it, we'll blink and we'll be talking about how he's helping us win games.
All right. Well, I mean, and you probably can do that. Last thing from me. Do you care what the Dodgers do the rest of the way? Obviously, you need help if you're going to quite a bit if you're going to chase them down. Or are you more concerned about the San Diego Padres? And if that means wild card and going to Chicago in the first round, so be it. Or do you care what the Dodgers do now?
Yeah, I can't say I don't care. I mean, I'm more time, energy focused on what we can do and take care of, and but yeah, we need to take care of our business, and it's nice to be in the hunt to win our division. It's an expectation we have. We'd like to be in a little better spot, clearly, but we still are in arm's reach, and it's ultimately how we take care of our business. And we are in a place where we do need a little bit of help to for them to lose a little bit, but we can't we'll follow it, track it, but as far as spending really energy or attention to it, other than what the final score is, it's really about our final score, and we'll take a glimpse of what they're doing too.
Well, good luck this weekend in Chicago. Even better luck if you do end up having to go back there in a couple of weeks. And again, thank you so much for this entire season. We do appreciate it, and I know all of our listeners appreciate it too.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a privilege to speak with you guys, and look forward to the next time.
Thanks, Shildt.
That is the manager. The manager's report, refreshed by Eco Water SoCal. Try alkaline water for just $9.95 a month. Eco Water SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925.